Hello everyone, my name is Luis Peña. Welcome to my gallery walk video. This video is for my EDFR 6302 Foundations in Cognition, Learning and Human Development class with Dr. Carmen Garcia Cáceres. Thank you very much for your time, and let's get started. To all my educators out there watching this video, what if I told you that I did not learn how to speak, write, and read English until I was in 7th grade? That I was ashamed of myself because my parents could not afford to purchase brand name clothing in a school where social status represented how people treated you. That I was bullied in school for years because of a condition I had in my eyes. And that I had no access to technology resources at home that I could use to complete my homework. Now, the question is, what or how would you help a student with these issues learn and become successful? I am totally aware that it is not the responsibility of the educator to take care of students' personal issues. But if those issues affected the learning ability of a student, can a teacher try to help as much as possible so issues like this will not affect the learning and class performance of the student? The reason why I bring these questions is not to put anyone in a tough spot or figure out a solution to issues that otherwise may be too difficult to solve. What I would like to do, though, is to use this video as a vehicle to create conscious on all of these issues that truly do influence learning. And as significant as it might be for an adult, this can be important for a young learner. I would also like to share my experiences in this course and how they made me want to become a better student. Now, this course has allowed me not only to learn about educational psychology in general, but also about the different theories and best practices in the classroom. It has also forced me to confront and analyze the different situations that I faced as a student throughout my public school years and higher education. Also, this course allowed me to become more connected to a classroom as ever before, and it provided me with an insight on what educators encounter on a day-to-day basis. If I respected educators before, now I truly admire them for their hard work, effort, and dedication to a very profound and difficult field of study. Now, I have a couple of confessions to make. First, I must confess that I graduated from higher education with the intention of becoming an educator, a social studies teacher. Unfortunately, I've never had the opportunity to practice my profession and eventually ended up working in a technology-related field. Therefore, I do not possess the same teaching experience that many of my classmates in this course, and this will show in my discussions where sometimes I will feel like an outcast because of the different answers that I will share. At the beginning of this course, I found myself confused and discouraged by the different theories of learning and their complexity. I always assumed that learning was something natural, and that I had no complex understanding on how it occurred. Learning was learning. Was I wrong all this time? It was not until I reached the next chapters in our textbook, specifically chapters 4 through 6, that I became more interested on educational psychology because it touched bases on situations that have repercussions on today's educational landscape, like dealing with learners' differences and needs, language development, diversity, immigrant education, and culture. I think these were the sections of the course that resonated with me the most because it literally describes some of the situations that I faced in my education. Also, coming from a social studies background, I was able to connect more with the social issues aspect of the course rather than with just theory and practice. Therefore, it was easy for me to gravitate more towards the Vygotsky social cultural theory, because he believed that human activities take place in cultural setting and that they cannot be understood apart from these settings. I am a firm believer that society and culture play a great deal when it comes to cognitive development. According to Woolfolk, one of his key ideas was that our specific mental structure and processes can be traced to our interactions with others. In other words, do you think we will be able to learn anything if it were not for our parents, teachers, and society? Hence, the importance that society has in our children's educational future is enormous, and we must take responsibility in assisting our teachers when it comes to educating our children. Our textbook provided me with the opportunity to explore more on my educational experience as a child of immigrants and the difficulty I endured trying to learn English. Even though I was born in the United States, I lived my early childhood years in Mexico and did not come into this country until I was 4 years old. According to Woolfolk, Immigrant children who spoke different languages and had diverse religious and cultural heritage were expected to come to the schools, master English, and learn to become mainstream Americans. Nothing can truly better describe my experience as a child of immigrants than this quote. I grew up in a predominantly Hispanic area, but nonetheless, all my education was done in a language that I was not familiar with at that time. My parents, unfortunately, were not able to assist me with learning this new language because they also did not know English. According to Olson, immigrants are surprised and often discouraged by the contradictory pressures to become English speakers and the many roadblocks and barriers they discover to developing that proficiency. This left me in a difficult situation in which I depended on my teachers, which honestly some of them really didn't care for us, but I was blessed with others that truly took it upon themselves to make sure that I learned the new language. Another topic that was discussed in our textbook and which resonated with my own education experience was poverty and school achievement. According to Tienken, without a doubt, poverty has a negative influence on student achievement, especially when achievement is measured by a state-mandated standardized test. Lack of education and technology resources. Parents who were not able to legally work in the country due to their immigration status at that time. And teachers who prefer wealthier students all contributed to a difficult learning experience. Now, I am not implying that all my educational experiences were horrendous. There were educators that truly cared for me, and rather than seeing this as a story, a failure of a system, I would rather like for people to see it as a story of hard work, perseverance, and success. Ultimately, this course took me on a path to self-realization and discovery of my own educational experience. I was able to find some answers to many of the questions that I had as a public education student. How was I able to learn another language besides Spanish? Why would some teachers seem more enthusiastic and motivated? Why would my teachers teach a certain way and others in another? Why will I act up boring classes but behave properly in challenging ones? All of these questions can properly be answered in one knowing one specific field of study, educational psychology. What I enjoyed most of this class was the different discussions we undertook and the opportunity to read the different opinions from classmates who have experience working as educators. These discussions opened my mind to a field of study that I had disregarded for such a long time and provided me with a deeper insight on real-life scenarios in the classroom. I would like to thank each and every one of you for being part of this class and of my life. Thanks to everyone who replied my discussions. Special thanks to Dr. Garcia Cáceres for taking care of the logistics behind the class. And if you have any questions regarding the presentation or essay, please feel more than free to contact me via email. Gracias y Dios los bendiga.